Hi, I'm Will Lehman. I've written a lot in the last 10 years about what I call the new jazz, an exciting form of creative music that springs from the music's incredible history, but that busts past genre categories and restricted boundaries to mix it up, not only with rock and roll or hip hop, but also newer kinds of classical music, with noise, metal, world music, you name it. No one has done this blend of daring composition and improvisation with more adventure and joy than Jacob Garchik. Check out some of his new album, Ye Olde 2, at the End of Time. Garchik is known as a trombone player, and he certainly loves to write for forceful, harmonized brass that blasts with energy. But he is just as artful as a composer and arranger, and not just in jazz circles. He's the arranger of more than 100 charts for the Kronos Quartet, a leading string quartet in classical new music. And his last 4 albums have transmuted jazz through the lens of gospel as played by a brass band, triple electric guitar music telling a science fiction story, classic big band music but recorded without a rhythm section, and modern small group jazz pulled apart and rearranged in the studio for additional layers of improvisation. There is, in short, no one like Jacob Garchik. This track, Caro Ortolano, reminds me of the music of Frank Zappa as expressed on his classic The Grand Wazoo, a blend of rock, jazz, and parade music that was the soundtrack to a kind of B-movie in Zappa's mind. This new album by Garchik brings back his 3-guitar band with drums and overdubbed trombone, creating dense arrangements. Like its 2015 predecessor, this music is couched as accompaniment to a narrative set both 500 years in the past and 100 billion years in the future. But you don't have to care about the science fiction elements to appreciate how great a trombone solo can sound when it's lifted up by 3 of the best guitarists in New York City. Brandon Seabrook, Mary Halverson, and Jonathan Goldberger are the axe wielders on this and 8 other tracks. And sure, it can get raucous. Listen to Seabrook play with percussive power over Vinnie Sperazza's drums as the whole band eases in behind him. Similarly, here's Halverson on overdrive and bending her sound on One Can Only Go Up. This is what has caused some critics to call this Jacob Garchik's metal band. But the truth is that he deploys his trio of guitarists with delicacy as well as distortion. On Dyson Spheres, you hear resonant strings set up a sensual bed of harmony for Garchik's horn playing on an aching tune in 3-part harmony. The music on At the End of Time can be decidedly lyrical and ballad-like, even as it sounds like it could be supporting the crazy movie that Garchik has in his mind for this project. Listen to how the track Transcending Time transitions from peacefulness to power. This kind of cinematic writing is all over Ye Olde 2, with layers of sound creating a feeling more than a jazz tune. Floating Brain begins as a single vibrating chord for guitars and eventually rises up into a Garchik solo that could be a hero screaming from a mountaintop. Warbling guitar on that track is, of course, Mary Halverson. All the players get moments to show off their personalities, even though most of the music is about the whole band. A contrasting trio of guitarists is used on a few tracks, and Miles Okazaki takes a brilliant solo on Omega Point, with guitarists Ava Mendoza and Sean Moran in support. I think it's fair if you feel like this music isn't really jazz. I call it the new jazz because it is music that could only be made by musicians like Garchik, who are deeply connected to jazz, to its history and methods, but they also love other styles and genres. On Ye Olde 2 At the End of Time, Jacob Garchik refreshes the sound of jazz. Like the Frank Zappa music it sometimes reminds me of, Jacob Garchik's art chooses not to play by the rules, or maybe by sets of rules that only he can reconcile. And that sounds great to me.